We are live. How's everybody doing? The Kings won 103-99, but the bigger news from today is that Tyrese Haliburton has no ligament damage to his left knee. The MRI revealed, but likely will miss the rest of the season. Haliburton won't require surgery and is expected to make a full recovery. How y'all doing? Big news. What is your biggest takeaway? And then silence your stuff, guys, because I can hear everything.
Sorry about that, Leo.
So how you feel about that?
I feel like today we got two victories. You know, we took the win in the win-loss column, and we also took a win in I almost say three. We took the win in the court of public opinion because the Kings didn't botch this injury with the press release. You know, luckily it didn't go for worse. And number three, Tyrese Haliburton has to go and recuperate with his rehabilitation, but he doesn't have to go under the knife and get any type of surgical procedure done to his knee on that really awkward, unorthodox buckle he had in the previous contest. Again, we took 3 W's. We had probably about 5 bad things that happened in the game today, but we still came out with a victory against a tanking team. I know them tankers are like, no, we we're trying to get a higher draft pick because we just keep winning. So we're going, you know, away from the lottery, but we're going to be in the lottery, but not where they want us to be in the lottery. So sucks to suck if you want to be somebody who sucks. So, oh well. I'll take the dub, you feel me? We'll get to 30 wins again. I ain't mad.
Thoughts, Ty?
Yeah, I mean, kind of just like piggybacking off of what Javi said. I mean, obviously we got the W today, but the biggest W was Tyrese Haliburton not being injured. I mean, that injury looked weird the way he buckled his knee, and especially by the way that the season's been going with this many games played, and you know, as many players that have been getting injured this season. It's just super hopeful for Tyrese Haliburton, especially us moving into the offseason. But yeah, with that being said, I mean, shoot, this is our longest win streak since March. So hey, Javi, we might be on.
That's funny.
They're like 6 of 8 right now, or are they 7 of 9? What are they, 6 of 8? No, it's 6 of 9. They're 6 of 9.
That's right, 103-99. The Kings are up big the whole game, literally the whole game. And towards the end, the Kings will always be the Kings, and they let the Thunder back in. So if y'all in play and y'all saw the spread at plus 12.5 Thunder, if y'all didn't take it knowing how the Kings are, shame on you, because that was an easy W. And they were up by 17, I think, at one point. But that's just what the Kings do, man. I want to hear, though, before we get into some Raiders and Niners news, shout out to the Raiders. They got a nice cornerback today in Casey Hayward. But we'll get into that later. We'll get into that later. Javi, who was your MVP of the game?
Well, I think the MVP of the game was the Oklahoma City Thunder general manager for not having any talent to play the Sacramento Kings on that roster. I think that's the GM of the decade, because this man is going to have 34 picks over 7 years. Because I can't look at a Kings player and say, yeah, he was the catalyst of why the Kings won today. I don't have like a, you know, I look at the box score. I mean, Buddy had a good game, but I mean, what did he shoot tonight? I have to go check like his percentage. He
5 of 16. 5 of 16.
I mean, like, how can I get him the MVP? He shot 5 of 16 from the field. Like, that's horrible. Like, you know what I mean?
But he had 11 rebounds, 4 assists, and 18 points.
Okay, but he missed 11 shots. Like, I'm not giving the guy who missed 11 shots the MVP. I can't do it. Richaun had 13 and 7. Marvin Bagley came back down to earth and had me eat crow because I thought he was going to go nuts with his new haircut. You know, Harkless was doing Harkless things, 11, 4, and 1. You know, spot start. Delon Wright, 13 and 10, 37 minutes. I would say the GM of the Thunder is Terrence Davis, rather, had 18 and 5 and 31 minutes off the bench with 3 assists, 18 points, 5 rebounds. I mean, that's somebody that really played well, considering his minutes, because, you know, his minutes going to be up. He was 6 for 13, so he shot a little under 50%. I mean, I'll give it to Terrence Davis. He's had some good games. He's either really hot or he's really cold for us. You know, I think he's like that as a player overall in his totality of his play.
All right, Ty, who was your MVP tonight? Which is presented by Medici Sacramento, by the way.
Shout out to Medici. And hey, man, the stat sheet doesn't say everything, because I'm going to say it once and I'm going to say it again. The Kings' number one priority going into the offseason should be resigning Richaun Holmes. I think at the end of the day, you know, he only had, 13 and 7, but I think that at the end of the day, he does so many intangibles, brings up so many energy with the team. He's blocking shots defensively. He's just always bringing that energy. So I think the bottom line is, man, I did really like the Damian Jones signing. I think he does add a lot of versatility and size to that second unit. But at the end of the day, man, when you have a starting center that can do it all, hit that little push shot, makes plays defensively, plays 100%, which is a huge thing in today's NBA. I mean, shoot, Richaun Holmes is my guy, and I'm rocking with him. And so if we don't re-sign him this offseason, I might cry. Yes, Kings fans, I might cry because I like that boy Richaun Holmes. But it ain't the first time the Kings made me cry because shit. Shit. But yeah, back to you, Leo.
Right on. So my MVP tonight was Buddy Hield. 18 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists. I was tweeting out earlier that, yes, he missed a lot of shots early on, but it was the fact that he was getting everybody involved. So his elite shooting would, in a sense, create open opportunities for his teammates. Whether they knocked him down or not, that's a different story. But he created a nice flow to the offense with a nice slip screen in the pick and roll. He's going to have more opportunities with the ball in his hands now without Tyrese, without De'Aaron Fox. A lot what we saw last year, which is not what I like, but because of the lack of ball handling now and only having Delon Wright, who did a marvelous job defensively tonight, and he had that clutch shot to win the game. But you're gonna see Buddy Hield in that primary playmaking role once again, or at least a secondary playmaking role, which isn't bad. I feel like he's gotten so much better in the pick and roll because he has a good feel for that slip pass when the roller's rolling. And we saw that nice dunk from Damian Jones today. Hell of a pass, hell of a finish. Richaun Holmes and Buddy have had that chemistry for a while now, so it's nothing new to me. What I want Buddy to do, though, as I was tweeting out today, was I want him to pump fake, take that 1-2 dribble, stop on the dime, and hit that mid-range shot. That's a shot that he had with Dave Yeager. He hasn't shown it as much during his tenure with Luke Walton. I want to see that pump fake going into his mid-range shot, because if that opens up his whole game, if he starts hitting that, his entire game is going to open up. So that's the next level for his game to progress in a positive manner. But let's talk about Marvin Bagley, man. I'll be honest, I didn't watch the last 2 games. Had a lot of family events to attend and family stuff. Just overall, I was in San Diego as well. Got to meet Marshall Faulk. That was a hell of an experience. Got to hoop on the beach. That was pretty cool as well. But Marvin Bagley, all I heard the last 3-4 days was, oh my God, Marvin Bagley, he's back. He's a stud. I told you he's a superstar. And my God, I was like, just give it a game, 2 more games so he comes back down to earth. And he is who we thought he was, which is a nice offensive bench scorer. Exactly what Metu is, exactly what Bays is, Bailey for the Oklahoma City Thunder. I feel like those 3 players are all very similar on so many levels. Their games are very, very similar. They can all score the ball. Bagley with 24 points, 11 rebounds tonight. We can make an argument that he's better than both Metu and Bagley. That's not shocking. I'm not going to say you're silly for saying something like that. But there isn't much difference between those guys, and I feel like all 3 of those guys are bench scorers. Now, whether or not Kings fans can admit to that, or the Bagley lovers like Javi, then we'll soon find out. But one thing that I was tweeting out today, I was actually busy today tweeting out, which is a rare occasion for me, especially now with, me not wanting to be on Twitter because of all the toxic stuff. But hey, man, shout out to everybody on Twitter. But I was saying, yes, Marvin looks more explosive, but one thing that hasn't changed is his his ability to defend the pick and roll on defense. It's so bad. In the first minute and a half, he had 2 miscues in the pick and roll on switches. His communication was awful. Luckily, the Thunder are not a good team, and they didn't make him pay for it. But right off the bat, I was like, oh, my God. I'm sure he did this against the Mavericks and the other team. I just didn't watch those games, but all game long he was lost. Let's be honest. So that's why he was a minus 14 in 31 minutes, 13.7 rebounds. Again, that's what he is, man. 14-7 type of guy. Whether or not Javi wants to admit it or not, we'll see. Go ahead, Javi.
Hey man. I'm trying to see in a tumultuous season that the Kings have found a way to create a silver lining, okay? And Marvin Bagley, with the absence of De'Aaron Fox, their superstar, Tyrese Haliburton departing the game in the last contest with the knee injury, Harrison Barnes not being available, trying to find a way to say, hey, Marvin Bagley's came back from missing 25 games. He's Mr. Inconsistent in regards to consistently being injured. He looked really good, dominant in the interior, played well in the paint, 23 points, etc. He was the catalyst in that victory they had 2 games ago. Granted, now into tonight's game, he comes right back down to earth. We got him right back into the Bagley, same old Marvin Bagley category. But before you go and jump off the rails, guy, relax. He didn't have a good game, but let's see how he finishes over the final 7. Because you were, doing band of dances and all that other stuff while we were watching the game. Let's take a moment to watch the rest of the season, see how he concludes the 2020-2021 season. If he has these games for the next 5 contests, then yes, Leo, you're correct. But I'm not ready to trade Marvin Bagley for a ticket on the light rail and a half piece of steak. I want Marvin Bagley to be traded for equal value for where he's at. Not the second overall pick, but I don't want to give him up for a second round pick. I don't want to give him up for a contract.
What's his value, Javi? What's his value?
Player. His value is subjective to where the Kings are as a franchise. That's
so low.
That's where the Kings are right now. You fit that category.
How much you willing to pay How much you willing annually?
Hey, I want to resign Richaun. Relax. What I'm saying is, if he doesn't ball out next season, in the next coming year at the deadline, that's when we say, you know what? You've had a 50-game, 40-game audition to prove your worth and show your talents to the league. Ring, 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 ring. What can I get from Marvin Bagley? I'm going to dial 1-800 Detroit Pistons or whatever team looking to acquire a young star. Or not young star.
What?
Listen, my bad. Let me rephrase that. A young player that they think can be a star. Not saying he's a star because he's not a star. Far from a star. He's probably the farthest thing from a star on the Kings roster. I'm saying you're going to call a team that you can try to swindle to get something of, equivalent return for what you invested in him. Not a second overall pick return, but like a former first-round pick or like a future first in 2023. Something equivalent to like what you invested in. I'm not saying you're going to get back a Luka Doncic, but I'm saying I'm not ready to give up for a second-round pick. No. I'm just not there. And I know you're just like, bro, he's garbage, Hob. He sucks. He ain't that. I hear you. But
Devin says Bagley's worth the Popeye's chicken sandwich.
What'd he say?
He said Bagley's worth the Popeye's chicken sandwich.
I mean, that is a good sandwich, but I'm still not ready to give up on you.
Oh, hell no. We got to get on the sandwich talk because that is disrespectful to all the good chicken sandwiches out there. That is an awful sandwich. Stop the nonsense.
I hear you. It's, again, all subjective. But, again, Bagley had a bad game, 5 for 16, 13.7 boards. I'm like, okay, now you're playing like typical first 47 games of the year, Marvin Bagley, before you got hurt.
He didn't have a bad game, Javi. He didn't have a bad game. He had a Bagley game.
Okay, let's make this team been 5 for 15, rather not 5 for 16 from the field, 30%. I know we're gonna make this a Leo.
He's a 13. He's a 13 and 7 guy.
He's Marvin Bagley.
He's a 13 and 7 guy, bro. He's a 13 and 7 guy, which isn't a bad thing. You just have to come to agreeance and just admit that that's what he is. He's a 13, 14, 7 type of player, bro. And it's okay. Like that. I don't think that's a bad thing. He just has to accept it and embrace that role coming off the bench. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, let me step up in here and, divide the two here. You know what I mean? I think at the end of the day, Leo, you were a little conservative in your comments earlier. Whether it's Bagley, Wagley, Magley, I'm taking anyone over that boy Marvin Bagley because Jesus Christ. Leo, I mean, Javi, I do not want to see another 40, 50 game stint of Marvin Bagley next season because I can't trust it. Ideally, this is what I want to happen. Actually, for the rest of the season, what 7, 8 games, etc. I would like Bagley to go. Yeah, I would like Bagley to go off. I want him to go crazy. I want teams to, see him and be like, wow, he's like the new reinvented player. So going into this offseason, we can fool them, fool's gold, and we ship him off for some value. And at that point, we're all happy, right? We can get some value out of Marvin Bagley. I just think at the end of the day, we've given him way more than enough opportunities. I mean, look, who did he play tonight? He ain't playing against nobody, and he had all the targets, had all the opportunity in the world, and still didn't take advantage of it. So I think at the end of the day, I mean, just like Leo mentioned, I mean, Bagley is Bagley. It is what it is. I mean, I would have loved to see him turn into the superstar that he was supposed to be, but, man, I don't know. And so, yeah, with that being said, I mean, there's several players on the Thunder that I would take over Marvin Bagley. Lou Dort.
God, yes.
I even like their big, was it Moses Brown? That's his name?
Oh, they'd never give up Brown for Bagley, though. I'll tell you that right now.
Exactly. And by the way that Ty Jerome was playing, I might need a little shooter over there in the corner.
Hey, they ain't giving up Baisley either. Like, like when I proposed that trade earlier, Baisley in the first for Bagley, and I forget what it was. People laughed at me. I was like, "Nah, the Thunder are laughing right now because they would never trade Baisley for Bagley. Never. Stop it, Javi. I see your face."
Well, I know you're just clamoring to say, "Yeah, I told you so, Dad."
I'm not saying I told you so. I'm saying that's what he is.
I don't care if you say, I told you so, because I don't care. I'm just not there. And that's the bottom line. I hear you. You don't like Marvin Bagley. Ty, you're ready to trade Marvin Bagley for
I like Marvin Bagley. I like Marvin Bagley.
Sandwiches.
No. I like Marvin Bagley.
You don't like him for the long haul, the long term. I understand that.
I like him as a 13-7 guy coming off the bench.
We're not going to be in a position to want to pay him $18 to $22 million annually when he's
he ain't getting paid that money. Sorry.
No, I know. What I'm saying is we're not in a position to put a high equitable contract in front of him to invest our future into him because of what he's displayed. But I'm saying I'm still not willing to just let him go for 50 cents on the dollar. That's my overall synopsis of my argument. You could say I told you so. No, you didn't, because at the end of the day, the Kings don't feel that way. And I'm not saying that they're trying to keep him, but they're not in a position right now where they feel as if internally as a franchise that their best position is to let him go for less than 100% value of where he's at. And he has no value. Okay, that's all complete subjectivity.
Well, your dad, Seabass, says
earn more value every game, each and every game he plays. I know Sebastian's over there talking crazy. I get you.
No, he's actually agreeing with you. He says Bagley was great against the Mavs. Trading Bagley would be a dumb idea.
All right. Good to hear from Sebastian. Tight.
Oh, man. No. Again, man, I like Marvin Bagley, but Kings fans just have to admit that he does nothing special. There's a lot of players, both Ty and I have spoken about this on multiple occasions. There are so many players that can do what Marvin Bagley does right now, and maybe even in the future. Like, there's nothing special about Marvin Bagley. Not one thing. Not even a second jump anymore. They sold us this idea of a second jump, and Metu has a better second jump than he does. So why was there so much hype on his second jump, Javi?
Because of the simple fact that
he was playing not that many good athletes at Duke?
Relax. They're trying to sell hope to the franchise, to the fan base. And
you know what it was.
I mean, even Christy, I love Christy, but Christy, he points out obvious things he does well, like he's supposed to do those things. He's athletically gifted basketball player that doesn't have IQ, doesn't have basketball acumen. He still can't learn how to defend the pick and roll, and he's 22. It's like a constant battle of man, we've seen you do this mistake over and over, commit the same mistake over and over and over again. You commit it, and you literally act as if we don't make this prevalent in your film study. I'm talking from the coach standpoint, and you make Luke Walton look bad like he's not doing his job, and you can do it in the game after you miss 25 games. You had a 25-game absence. After 25-game absence, you come back on the floor, and for whatever reason, at any given time, at this particular time in the game, you still make the same mistake. And it's like you're wondering, earliest convenience in any quarter, like, do we have to take him out already? Because, like, I feel like you just get lost in translation all the time on defense. But again, I just don't know if it's not clicking. I don't know if he's not happy here. I don't know if he just want to play here. I don't know if he just doesn't want to be a part of this regime, this franchise. But it's going to affect him down the road with their teams. And Buckle's like, just like, well, how would you say in layman's terms? He's just going to, zone out. Are you just going to be tapped out? Or are you just going to find your way, mentally out in a different stratosphere because you don't have liking for what's going on? But in the day, I just don't want to give up on him at this time because he, in my estimation, can get you a solid piece off the bench, solid draft pick. Because some dummy out there in the NBA, one of the 30, so the 20 other teams, one of them going to give us something for him. Not like a Brandon Ingram, but we can get – what if we, like – I'm not saying this kind of thing, like a Josh Hart type of player. Like, I'm not saying –
So you're okay with getting a solid player like Josh Hart?
Like, for Marvin, yes. Like, because I'm not going to let Richaun walk. I'm going to pay Richaun. I'm going to have to find a way to flip Marvin to make the salaries.
Bro, we've been saying this forever, and you've been disagreeing with guys like Josh Hart.
Like a second-round pick.
No.
I don't want a second-round pick. I don't want Ramsey. I don't want another Ramsey because he's – I don't want that.
We're not talking about Ramsey. We're talking about guys like Sadiq Bey.
Ramsey was a second-round pick.
So would you take Sadiq Bey right now?
Yes.
But literally you were saying – Ty, was he not saying no, that's a joke earlier this year?
No. Obviously, I was saying no early at the deadline because I wasn't there yet. I'm not –
Okay, that's fair.
With 7 games left, I'm not willing to risk Marvin Bagley being the detriment of Richaun Holmes going to the Dallas Mavericks. Like, that's where I'm at because now you see the writing on the wall to where because De'Aaron's contract's kicking in, they still have Harrison. Unless they get rid of Buddy or Harrison, Darrell's going to be on the books. Yeah, Parker's off now. Hassan will be off. Bielitsa's off. Terrence Davis is restricted. I think they buy out Justin James. I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying at that given time when they were in a playoff push, I'm like, no, I don't want to get rid of Marvin yet. Not just yet. Now, without the playoffs, I'm trying to see long-term vision. They see De'Aaron, Haliburton, and Richaun is the core, more or less, in my estimation. Harrison and Buddy are like the 2 starters that they plug and play. Haliburton will eventually, overthrow Buddy in the starting lineup somewhere or another. That's where they're at nucleus-wise.
Okay.
I was trying to say, don't let Marvin walk right now because we can find a way to use his value, so to speak, to bring another capable but more than valuable asset to the franchise. If it comes down to we got to take a rotational solid wing or guard or even muster a center, whatever it may be, a piece off the bench that will help us internally, yeah, I'll take him. But I'm not willing to let him go for a second-round pick because second-round picks hit what? 1 out of every 200? 1 out of every 80? You know what I mean? Like it's very
That's fine.
You know what I mean?
All right, Ty. Today, Delon Wright finished the game with 13, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, 4 steals, and 4 blocks. He's the 3rd player in the NBA this season that has had at least 4 points and 4 blocks in the game. Sorry, 4 of each. So at least 4 rebounds, at least 4 assists, and at least 4 steals, and at least 4 blocks. He's the first player to do this since Willie Cauley-Stein. Are you shocked by this random stat?
I am actually not shocked by it because I've always felt like Delon Wright was one of my favorite players around the league in terms of just like rotational players.
But are you shocked that Willie Cauley-Stein was the last guy to do that?
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely really shocking. Does he still get minutes on the Mavericks? I don't even know.
Yeah,
he's playing against us.
He started tonight.
I don't pay attention to Willie Cauley-Stein that much, but I think at the end of the day, like, where has this Delon Wright been? I mean, obviously he has a lot more opportunity without De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Haliburton, but this is kind of the production that we were expecting to get from him off the bench type production. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I guess it is a little bit optimistic seeing him, play like this down the stretch and also hit that clutch, just to get us ahead of the game at the end of the game. So. I think that, that just shows his poise and that, hopefully moving forward, I know Javi touched on kind of like the nucleus and the direction that we're going on in the future. So I think Delon Wright definitely fills that backup point guard role, and I'm willing to pay, what is that? What is he at, like 13 mil, right?
He's at $9 million next year.
9 mil, yeah. I'm more than happy to pay that $9 million.
It's Corey Joseph's cap number 13.
Yeah. They were paying Corey Joseph that. Hey, Ty, Isaac Perez says Justin James did solid tonight. Yes, he did solid tonight, but I'm still upset that they gave up on Daquan Jeffries for Justin James. I think
Justin James not better than Daquan.
there's just no way, right?
Hell no.
And then you see this kid play, and yes, he had a good game today, but they just think about this: no Harrison Barnes, no Ty, no De'Aaron. And what planet Earth would Daquan not play on this team right now and show what he's more than capable of showing? I just don't understand that type of move. And a guy who's actually good defensively, a rarity for the Kings, they give up on him for Justin James, Kyle Guy. He's on the Rockets right now.
Oh, he got signed?
So how do you allow that, Ty? I mean, does that make sense?
It's tough, man. I don't know if Luke Walton has this weird thing where he gets attached to players or what. I mean, every time I see Justin James on the court, with the exception of today, it almost seems like he's lost like that one like young like player that's just trying to do everything, you know, and just like when he's on the court, there's just no fluidity, there's no rhythm, there's no like just maturity in making the right decisions. And so, I mean, obviously with the exception today, he had a great dunk, but like in terms of long-term plans, like, you know, the Kings are kind of notorious for, you know, getting these second-round guys, and then we're like, okay, give them opportunity, and then at the end of the day, a lot of these guys don't pan out. And so, yeah, just like you guys mentioned, like a guy like Daquan Jeffries, like, you know, like a gritty like dog, you know what I mean? That's something that the Kings could have definitely just used on the court, off the court, and just, you know, a personality that we needed. But at the end of the day, I mean, honestly, let's just be realistic. I don't think Daquan Jeffries or Justin James makes that much of a difference to this roster, right? I think we have a lot bigger problems at hand. I know a lot of people have been mentioning right here in the comments that, like, you know, Bagley's 21 and he needs a lot more development and things like that. But yeah, I mean, that is a great point. I just think that, you know, when it comes to talent versus skill, right? A lot of players are born with that natural talent, you know, the height, the athleticism, etc. And then there's people that work on their game. And, you know, the first player that comes to mind for me is Jason Tatum. You know what I mean? Like, this guy works. He's able to get to his spots, you know, pull up, post up, all these things. You know what I mean? He's developed throughout the years. And so with Marvin Bagley, where do we really see him developing? Is he going to get like this post-up game where he starts playing like Hakeem? Is he going to start knocking down the three ball? I just think that realistically, I don't really see that potential for him. I think he just has a really low ceiling, and like nothing against him. I mean, shoot, the Kings, you know, bid on the fool's gold and saw that second jump. I mean, I was going to say a comment earlier. The reason why Bagley has such a good second jump is because he missed that first shot. So you got to go and get it again. You know what I mean?
That's a great point.
But
I mean, Javi, admit that. That was pretty good, bro.
Right? This is the first one. He's already that second one. So
hey,
pretty good
Javier Muhammad says Baisley a second round for Bagley and James. The Thunder would never do that, bro. That like the Thunder wouldn't do that.
Who? Baisley and who for Bagley?
Baisley and a second round pick for Bagley and Justin James.
I just feel like with James, like he just has a very unorthodox, very
soft game.
Really awkward feel. Like everything that I see him on the court display has no rhyme or reason. Like, and then it's like that one player on the roster that you see him wide open, and you just like, you know, when he gets it, when they rotate, he's still not gonna make it wide open, and he always misses the perimeter shot. Like, all right, rotated Justin, he's gonna shoot the three, he's gonna miss, and he misses it. Like, he's just like, I don't know, maybe that's just like a, you know, irrational way of describing how he plays offensively. I'm like, man, that's the guy I don't want him to shoot from the perimeter at all, because I feel like he just never ever converts, like when he's wide open, because he's just not. Like, you say Bagley doesn't do anything well. What does Justin James do well? Like, one good thing. Like, yeah, he has a lot of energy, but he doesn't shoot well. He doesn't have any good, like,
he's a super athlete, though.
And his defensive
he dunks well.
Like, he gets lost. I mean, dunk contesting, that's cool, but I'm trying to get somebody who can actually help us on the floor defensively, can shoot from the three. I mean, he's supposed to play the small forward, and he doesn't do anything from the perimeter offensively, and defensively gets lost. So, I mean, you know, he plays a lot of tenacity, a lot of effort, a lot of grit. But, again, Jeffries, I'll take Iman Shumpert over him. I mean, that's me. Like,
Iman Shumpert over who?
Over Justin James.
Oh yeah. Buddha Moore says, "Where is Lewis King? Newly acquired."
Why is he not?
I'm assuming it's because of the COVID protocols. I think that's the reason why he hasn't played, but that's not, 100%, but I think that's the reason why. Here's a good question by Thank You Cisco. He says, just curious, with our current roster, when healthy, what's our true starting five next year? Go ahead, Ty.
what I want to see is Fox, Haliburton, Barnes. I'd hate to say it, but I mean, shoot, Mo Harkless and then Richaun Holmes. I think I don't really see a future with Bagley there, and I think that I don't know. I could see Mo Harkless being more of like that plug and play guy. I mean, obviously, I like to win small, right? But I just think in terms of just like like with the Fox, Buddy, Haliburton, Harrison Barnes, etc. I loved that, but I just think that in terms of really moving towards what our youth movement is, and I mean, obviously, right, Leo mentioned it earlier, Tyrese Haliburton is going to be, our starting backcourt alongside De'Aaron Fox. I feel like there's no way to, hide against that, but. Yeah, I mean, as of right now, that's what I'd like to see. I think most likely it's going to look something like this year again, where it's probably another Fox, Buddy, Barnes, and then we might even see Bagley in that starting lineup again, which I hate to see. But, I mean,
all right,
that's what do you guys?
Before I let Javi go, Buddha says Leo is overrating Bays, bro. I'm not overrating. I said Bays, Bagley, and Metu are all on the same level. But go ahead, Javi.
My star lineup for 2021-2022 season.
Hey, don't say Bradley Beal. Don't say Bradley Beal.
I'm gonna say. Let's make this interesting, shall we? I'm gonna say
Lewis King at the 3, Harrison at the 4.
Hey, are you gonna let me go?
Go ahead.
All right. So, De'Aaron Fox at the point guard position.
Mm-hmm.
Harrison Barnes at the 3. Richaun Holmes at the 5. David Bertans at the power forward position. And at shooting guard for your Sacramento Kings, number 3, Bradley Beal. With your bench consisting of Delon Wright, Terrence Davis, Mo Harkless.
My boy said Bradley Beal, though.
Silva and Damian
Silva not even on the roster, bro.
My bad. Metu and Damian Jones and Silva being your backup centers.
Silva not on the roster.
I mean, him or Jones would be the backup center. I'm saying that team right there with those 10 deep will win 45 games. Book it. I'll say 46 wins for that team. 46 wins and 36 losses if they had that roster.
That team won 50 games. Stop it.
I'm saying at worst 46.
Okay. Shout out to the A's who just beat the Blue Jays 4-1, and then the Giants rocked the Rockies earlier 12-4, and they are currently up 6-5 in the doubleheader. Doubleheader, 6-5 right now. Both the Giants and the A's are playing good baseball, and we'll be discussing them later this year once basketball is over for the Kings. Do the Kings still have a shot, Javi, to make the playoffs, to make the playing game?
I mean, they'd have to win out. They got 7 games remaining. They have to win out and be 35-37, and the Spurs have to lose. I mean, they're only 3 games out of the loss column with the it's 4, but the 3 games out of the win column away from the Spurs for the 10 seed, and they have to jump the Pelicans. I mean, what do they have? They have Oklahoma City left. Who else do they have left? They got Oklahoma City.
They have an easier schedule than both the Spurs and the Pelicans.
Let's just count the 7 games. They got Indiana, San Antonio, 2 games against the Thunder, the Grizzlies twice, and the Jazz. So let's see. They'd have to win Pacers, Spurs, both the Thunder games, the Grizzlies. They have to go 6. Yeah, they're going to, at best, in a perfect world, they could go undefeated because the Jazz might not play anybody game 72, but they're not winning 7 straight. They're not going to win 6. They'll probably win 3. They'll be 31-41 like they were last year. And that's what they'll be. They'll be 12, if not, depending on how the Pelicans finish. They'll probably be, 12 at 31-41, and we'll be 10 under, and we'll be like, hey, we didn't suck worse than we did last year, but we're just as bad. So, cool. They'll find a way to make the excuse for Luke, and, Luke for year 3. We're going to see.
And the Pelicans won today.
Streaks. We're going to
And the Pelicans beat the Warriors tonight, by the way, 108-103.
Yeah, okay. Well, the Warriors have just been blowing games in the fourth quarter all year because they don't have Clay. And they just, outside of Steph, they had nobody that's consistent. And Oubre's hurt. But I'm saying the Kings will win, they have the 7-game win streaks and 10-game losing streaks because Luke Walton is a consistently inconsistent coach. And the team plays that way, too. He just thinks it's just you'll see Hassan Whiteside for 3 games and you won't see him for 10. I don't understand that. Logic. You know what I mean? Like, remember he was playing a lot like 3, 4, 5 games ago,
Yeah.
and then you just don't see him at all, right?
All right, so let's move on to
This is weird.
the last question for the Kings before we transition to some 49ers talk and some Raiders talk. And this comes by Cool Kid 1996. He says, "Is Damian Jones a backup plan for if we don't keep Holmes?" Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, I most definitely think so, especially bringing on a guy that late in the season. I think that, obviously one of our top priorities is to resign Richaun Holmes, but if that's not the case, I mean, Damian Jones is a big guy. He's athletic. I mean, I think he could definitely use a little bit of help on just his lateral movement. And so, but with that being said, I mean, dude, we got him for, like pennies on the dollar, basically. So I think obviously we would probably look in free agency to, acquire a starting caliber center. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Kings really push this youth movement and have Damian Jones at center. But what I think someone else mentioned earlier in the comments, which is interesting, is, man, I don't know what his situation is like in Portland, but, man, Harry Giles can come back to Sac if he wants to come through.
That's true.
I'd be down to get some Harry Giles minutes. But, yeah, what do you guys think?
Well, I think Damian Jones is if we can't find a way to make ends meet with Richaun, we got Damian there. We're stuck with Marvin until we trade him. And, yeah, Harry Giles would be a good piece. I think if they're going to keep him, they would have kept him this year. But, yeah, I'd love to have him back because then you put Damian as your starting 5. Harry's your backup 5. Marvin would probably be your starting 4, obviously, with Harrison, Buddy, and De'Aaron. The ceiling there is kind of low. No, it's not kind of low. It is low because we've already seen it. We're watching it. But it's a matter of, like, what Draper said. Like, his job, Monty McNair, at this time is to acquire more talent, to upgrade the roster, to build a winner. And I understand we made moves at deadline and it didn't work. We're not the worst in the West, but we're not top 10 in the West. We're about a 31-win team where we were at last year. Like, we haven't, because we subtracted Bogdanovich and we subtracted Giles and replaced them for Glenn Robinson and Hassan Whiteside, who then turned into, release players off the roster. Whiteside don't play. Then they flip Bielitsa Parker and Joseph for Davis, Harkless, Silva, Delon Wright. We're better with those 4 players stylistically in the future, but they didn't swing the pendulum to where we're like top 10. No. You got to make a move significant enough to, like, whether it's a star acquisition or a key core pillar to your team that's different, to where, like, there's a different ingredient in that starting 5, that top 8 in the roster rotation, because I feel like the ceiling is here. And we've seen it. We're watching the ceiling. They're trying to get here, though. The ceiling is trying to get higher past the 12th, 11th seed, because the Kings, for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, have been between a 11th and 15th seed team. And they're trying to get not just in the top 8. They can get in top 10, but they just can't find a way out of that cellar dweller 12 seed. Like, 31 games, yeah, we're not horrible, but we're not good. We're just, and they got to find a GM that they think they found a McNair to make that move, to spiral them, to spike them into the direction of 41-plus wins. And I say Bradley Beal, I say Zach LaVine, because I'm trying to find a acquisition of a star that can put us in a position to make the playoffs. I might sound like, oh, Javier's like a deadbeat. You're beating a dead horse, rather. Like, you just said something. Yeah, I know. Because I'm not going to stop until I see the Kings win a playoff series. I'm not going to stop until I see them get in the tournament, because I'm tired of watching us not play in April. Or now, I mean, obviously, we're not going to watch them play in the playoffs, my point. You know what I mean? Like, we got 7 games left, and then we got to wait another 5 months for them to play again. And we're talking about, preseason pictures and who they draft. And I'm tired of that. I want to watch them play in the tournament at the Golden One Center. Beautiful venue.
Facts. So before I pass it on to Ty about what his opinion was about the 49ers draft and some of the offseason acquisitions, some real quick news about the Sacramento Republic. Big news for all soccer fans, if this is true and if there's validity to this. So there's a woman by the name of Greta Van Susteren, who's verified on Twitter, and she pretty much put out that there's this new group, a celebrity athlete group, investing in minority ownership in the new Sacramento franchise. And some of the names is Guy Fieri, Adam Housley, E40, Festus Ezeli, Uriah Faber, Derek Lee, Torrey Hunter, and Eric Armstead. Any thoughts on that, Ty?
I mean, as you guys know, I'm a Sacramento native. So seeing, the opportunity for the Kings, not the Kings, for Sacramento to have, a real soccer team, I was able to catch one of the games when I was back in high school. And dude, there's a huge soccer audience here in Sacramento. And it's super hype. If you guys haven't been to a game yet, you've got to go. I'm pretty sure with COVID guidelines, I don't know if they're still having games, but yeah, especially with next season approaching, I think if any Sacramento natives have an opportunity to go watch Sacramento Republic play, even if you don't watch soccer, because I think it's a super cool environment. I'm super elated, and I think Sacramento could be on the up and up. I know our Kings aren't playing well, but especially with Golden One being done, with our seats beginning to get filled for next season, especially with this great news with the Sac Republic. I mean, shoot, we might be the next LA. Who knows? Out here in NorCal. So yeah, I'm super excited. I'm super I thought it was super cool seeing the people Guy Fieri, Armstead, all these guys that I really want to be minority owners. So yeah, I think things are looking up, and I'm just super excited to see soccer come to Sacramento.
Absolutely.
Relax with that new LA talk to a guy.
I said we might.
Relax, guy.
Hey, LA Live is pretty dope. No lie. LA Live is phenomenal. And it is the goal of Sacramento to become a small Walmart version of LA Live. And that's not a bad thing, because LA Live is magnificent. So if you ever become the Walmart version, and, they're low-key becoming that little by little. There's a lot of construction going on and a lot of new businesses opening up and just transforming all of downtown Sacramento. So that's a good thing. New businesses, and hopefully when this pandemic ends, because it will end, more people taking the vaccine, blah, 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 blah. Things are going to get better. But Javi, you know what, Javi? Actually, no, Ty. What did you think? Because Javi was wrong about his inside information. So we have to, not give him the nod to go first.
Hey, man.
Anyway.
Wrong. Can you relax a second, man? I'm not going to go against my source. I had a source in the building, and it was all a smoke screen. But again, I'm happy that my source was wrong, because I wanted Trey Jones. Or excuse me, I wanted
Trey Jones.
I'm hungry. I wanted Trey Lance, but Jones was not the pick. They said Trey would be drafted by the 49ers if Lynch makes the pick. Jones is Shanahan's pick. And somehow they said Jones being selected by Shanahan is going to happen because Shanahan has the say-so over Lynch. So Trey being the pick instead of Jones was Shanahan's counterpart, which is who? John Lynch. Jones is Shanahan's pick. But again, Trey Lance is who they selected. And I'm happy. I was screaming. I lost my voice because I was so elated that I was wrong. I'd rather have been wrong and got the player I wanted than be one of the NFL experts and got it right and be upset, because I'm a Niner fan before any of that. And I got intel. And again, Trey Lance was Shanahan's decision, but the intel told me that Shanahan wanted Mac Jones and Lynch wanted Trey Lance, but they set it on Trey Lance. But before the draft, it was Trey Lance was going to be Shanahan's guy only if Mac Jones didn't perform well at his pro day, and he performed well enough to where they took him, or they said they're going to take him because he played, or he performed well enough at the pro day. But again, it was all smokescreen because Shanahan said that it was his guy all along, and they said from my intel that Lance was Lynch's guy and that Jones was Shanahan's guy. But it was all a diversion because they both wanted him coincidingly to say we both wanted Trey Lance.
Sure.
Trey Lance was the San Francisco 49ers pick between Lynch and Shanahan alike, to where they came together as a community 49ers organization, community, and selected Trey Lance because Shanahan wanted him along with Lynch to make that selection at third overall. Jones was all smokescreen. But you can see or believe whatever you want. End of the day, I'm happy because they didn't select Mac Jones. They selected Trey Lance, the better quarterback, the better prospect. Most importantly, Lynch and Shanahan selected their quarterback that they wanted for their future at 3, for the foreseeable future for the 49ers for the next 5 to 10 years, at least for the franchise.
Yes, Javi. At the end of the day, we got Trey to the Bay. Us at the Cowboy Kingdom family, we might be a little bit reluctant with Javi sources in the future, but hey, at the end of the day, we got Trey to the Bay. I think that he's one of the best quarterbacks in the draft, and moving on into the season, I think Jimmy G is definitely gonna get the start, but I would love to see Trey Lance. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up starting by the end of the season, but yeah, man, I think he's just so versatile. so versatile. We didn't get to see too much of him in college, but dude, this guy's trucking people. This guy's able to make passes on the move. And I think a really good pick that we had later on in the draft was Trey Sermon. I mean, we did just sign Wayne Gallman, which I thought, I think Wayne Gallman's definitely a great backup running back, but especially a guy out of Ohio State. I mean, he definitely is a big run downhill guy. And I was watching his highlights the other day. He had some crazy hurdles. So I think, that along with, I think we drafted that Notre Dame lineman, right? Yeah,
Yep.
And so I was super excited.
My
about
boy
that.
had blood on his jersey. That was pretty cool to see. So quick question for All Niner Nation, and I think it's a fair one. Do you start Trey from day one? Why or why not? And I guess the second part to that question is, if you don't believe that Jimmy G will take you to the Super Bowl, why would you waste a year of Trey developing?
I think that is a great question, Leo. But I think the bottom line is, I think Jimmy G is just gonna have to start. I think that we would rather just be patient with it. And I get what you're saying, that Jimmy G, if he's not gonna be our guy to take us to the Super Bowl, then why have him starting? Yep. I just think right now we'd rather have development. I know that the way that our roster is built right now, I guess you can argue that we just got into the Super Bowl, but I don't think our roster is anywhere near what that Super Bowl team was. And so I think this year is definitely going to be a year of a lot of learning, a lot of mistakes, and just trying to move forward with that. I think Trey Lance is just one of those guys that as soon as he does step in, though, I would not be surprised to see him, take over that starting role and definitely be one of the, best young prospects in the NFL. And so with that being said, though, I think a lot of Niners fans, we've been a little bit down on Jimmy G. I think a lot of us can agree that, our quarterback play has been what's been holding us back from, essentially, getting that ring. But, I mean, Jimmy G's not that horrible of a quarterback if you think about it. I think he's a better starting quarterback than several other teams. I'm not saying he's the best quarterback in the world, but I mean, shoot. I mean,
is he top 15?
Ooh, that's a tough question too.
Is he top 15, Javi?
He's 15.
Okay.
He is 15.
Okay.
Like, that's
16.
Might be 15, 16.
15.
Okay. So, do you start Lance from day one, Javi?
No. I'm practical in my assessment. Trey Lance is not going to start day one. He's 21 on May 9th.
Do you want to start him, or should you start him?
No. I'm going to say, Jimmy G, it's your job to lose. You're going to play until you either get hurt, you lose a job with your performance, or we're out the playoff picture and you have bad statistics, which is more or less in the second and third caveat of my argument. We have Jimmy Garoppolo play a year. You run this team back with the roster they have intact fully with that Super Bowl roster, see how far they can go. Garoppolo doesn't play well. They just play whatever. You raise the trade value, whether they can get access for him or they release him, play for another team. He's auditioning for 31 other franchises. And they go Trey Lance because they got to pay Fred Warner extension. That would be Garoppolo's money. They got to pay, Bosa, Barrett possibly. Trey Lance is a 21-year-old phenom that you're looking at as the 5 to 10-year plan, not the 5 to 10-month plan. So for the
21-year-old phenom, huh?
I mean, he's 6'4", 230 pounds. He's undefeated as a starter with 28 touchdowns and no interceptions. And on top of all that,
I thought phenom meant something else. My bad. You can say he's a freak athletically, but phenom to me is like LeBron James, Luka Doncic, like that type of prospect.
Watch the film, guy. Now, what's most important?
Oh my God, he's a phenom? Are you serious? If he was a phenom, he'd be the number one pick, but he wasn't, and he wasn't even considered at number one.
He was top 3.
Yeah, but he wasn't number one. Phenoms are drafted number one.
Things that people in college have never done. My point is this. Trey Lance's ceiling is the highest.
Oh, my God.
In the draft.
Oh, my gosh.
Mark,
stop
my
it.
Words. Put this in the vault. Highest ceiling, Trey Lance. The highest. And if you don't believe me, it's all right. Because we'll discuss this in a year. We'll discuss it in 5 right here on the Cowboy Community platform.
Oh,
and you'll be able to talk about it in
gosh.
future shows with me. I promise you. You'll see Trey Lance is that guy. Because Trey to the Bay, it's Trey Day, but it's Lance.
Oh.
Make you dance.
I'm with that.
Okay. We'll make you dance.
Oh,
You know what's going on with me, Daddy? Yo.
Leo, let me tell you what's going to happen.
Okay.
Exactly what happened to the Niners a few years ago when Alex Smith took us all the way, and then when Colin Kaepernick filled in and took us to the Cup. That's what's going to happen with Jimmy G and Trey Lance. Except for Trey Lance, it's going to get the job done.
Oof. Money on that? Money on that better nah?
I mean, shoot, hey, I'll put a pack. I'll put
Dinner?
a pack of Mountain Dew on it. Anyone want to put a pack of Mountain Dew on it?
Isaac Perez, Niner loyal man, says Trey Lance had the highest IQ of any QB in the draft. We need to pin this video because of Javi. Shout out to Devin. Okay, Javi getting some love right now. Bobby Hill says Trey Lance was the Luka of the draft. Now let's not get carried away, man. Come on. The Luka Doncic of this draft. Are you serious?
I mean, you seen the film, Leo? He's nice. He's nice.
But the Luka Doncic of this draft?
All I'm saying was Luka wasn't taking number one.
That's because two dumbass organizations didn't pick him before.
You can say that about the Jaguars and the Jets.
That's fair. That's fair, I guess. They're both pretty bad. They're both pretty bad. So let's talk about the Raiders signing Casey Hayward to a one-year deal worth up to $4 million. Definitely a need for the Raiders. And they went defense in the draft. A lot of people said that they reached for their offensive lineman from Alabama who already has chemistry with some current players on this roster. One of them, star running back Josh Jacobs. So I thought that was funny. But at the end of the day, the way I see when a team selects at number 17, if you like a guy and all these people, all these fans, all these negative Nancy say, well, you should have traded backwards to go get this guy. He would have been available. Now, they make it sound like it's so easy to trade back and get multiple picks. Like if it was that easy, why doesn't everybody do it? My thing is, if you think that he would have been available at 25 to 30, okay, that's fine. But if you want this guy, take your guy. You're at 17. You're not drafting in the top 5. So to me, when you say it's a reach, it was a reach taking Farrell at number 4. They should have never lost that damn game, or they should have never won that game against the Steelers, which then Bosa would have been the Raider. That's neither here nor there. But to me, at 17, to say that somebody is a reach is just, it's silly to me. Right, Javi?
End of the day, the Raiders are the Raiders. John Gruden thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, and he's not. He's an idiot. Like, I don't care what he's a great commentator.
Stop it.
He took Leatherwood, who was a second-round grade at 17th overall. You could have got him in the second round.
Now you're going by the grades of these wannabe draft experts who are wrong all the time. Who are wrong all the time, by the way.
No, I'm not talking about the analysts. I'm not talking about the projections. I'm not talking about mock draft. I'm talking about his grade as a prospect was a second-round prospect.
By who, though? But by who?
All college football rankings from his prior season in college football NCAA for Alabama. They needed 3 things in the first round. They needed a pass rusher, they needed a solid corner, or a roving.
Did they not get the best safety in the draft? Did they not get the best safety in the draft?
They could have got better value at that pick, and you know it. I mean, you can sit there and point it and paint.
They legitimately how though? They traded away 3 starters on their offensive line this year. They needed. They
cut him. They cut him, which was stupid.
No, they traded. They traded.
And they traded one to Arizona. They released. That didn't make any sense. You know what? You had a good offensive line in tech. Why would you get rid of him? Like, it didn't make any sense. Like, you were a good offensive line up front. You guys
because you needed to free up money to improve your defense.
Well, and what money they spent on defense? Hayward was for $4 million. They didn't pay anybody in defense. Defense they didn't pay nobody. They got a great.
They got a great edge rusher from the Ravens.
Yeah, Ngakoue, but that's it. They let go of Joyner. They let go of Antonio Brown. Obviously, they let go of Tyrell Williams. They let go of Trent Brown. I mean, look, they let go of every player they paid that they had in these like last 2 free agent classes. They let go of. Like, they didn't keep any of the guys that they paid. They let go of Hudson. That's when they.
So you want to
Arizona.
keep a bunch of bums that were on the
Bums.
worst defense?
No,
No, I'm talking about the guys on defense. You want to keep bums that literally that were on the worst defense in the NFL last year, where Derek Carr literally had to score 30 points to give his team a chance to win. Not to win, to give his team a chance to win. So don't come at me with they didn't sign Joyner. Like, bro, he's trash. He's garbage. Then Arden Key, or was it Arden Key that went to the Niners, or somebody went to the Niners, and he's trash too. So
Maurice Hurst. I'm not saying that the players aren't good. I'm saying they wasted that money in free agency for players that they overvalued that were not good. The evaluation of these players in free agency that they paid were horrible valuations. They pay players that they don't even use anymore. Like, they're not even on the roster because they weren't good at the time they signed them. They're not good now. I'm saying the Joyners, the Trent Browns, the Antonio Browns, the Tyrell Williams, the Maurice Hurst, the Arden Keys, all these players they picked and they signed in free agency, they all released. They were all released. Hudson, and that's not even defending. I'm saying,
but they needed money though.
They let go of, like, why is him in free agency? Nelson Aguilar, like, you picked up players that you let go, you draft players that you cut, and you overpaid for players that you don't even have in your roster anymore. A year later, after free agency ended last offseason, it looks as if you are not just going back on what you did, but you're regretting the decision. You pay them guaranteed money for players you don't even see in your long-term future. That means there's no stability for the long term. What I'm saying is,
guaranteed money is subjective.
For Derek Carr that had good running lanes for Josh Jacobs,
Look,
and now you dismantled it for what?
Let me explain to you how guaranteed money works. And I just learned this by Marshall Falk, by the way. When they say $40 million is guaranteed, it's not guaranteed, bro. Like,
I'm not talking about guaranteed. I'm talking about signing bonus. I'm talking about the money that
okay, signing bonuses are literally not guaranteed, though. That's the funny part.
Well, what I'm saying is, you still sign these players knowing
everybody makes mistakes, though.
5?
Everybody makes mistakes, though.
5? I mean, from Arden Key's selection to Maurice Hurst's draft selection out of Michigan.
Mo was nice.
To Tyrell Williams, Antonio Brown, to LaMarcus Joyner. I mean, Trent Brown. Like, what do you mean? Like,
Trent Brown, he was always banged up, though. How do you pay this guy who's really good, though? Right.
The bag. You gave him the bag.
So what do you do if a guy doesn't play? What do you do if a guy's Marvin Bagley in the NFL? What do you do if he's Marvin Bagley?
Let's compare Marvin Bagley to Trent Brown, guy. We're not doing that. Way different circumstance. Trent Brown is lazy. He's overpaid.
Oh, my gosh.
He's in his third team in 5 years because
why can't you compare those two?
Because Marvin Bagley's not lazy.
Why can't you compare those two?
Marvin Bagley's not out of shape. Marvin Bagley's not a guy on his third team in 5 years. Marvin Bagley's in his third year on the same team.
I'm talking in regards to injuries, on not being on the field.
Well, Trent Brown wasn't hurt last year, bro. He had coronavirus, and he couldn't stay away from it.
And they almost killed my man. I'd be suing that hospital. Oh my
God. He's not
God.
an in-shape individual. He didn't take care of himself. That's why he's consistently, not being relied upon by any front office from San Francisco to New England, back to Oakland, or Las Vegas, back to New England. He had to restructure his deal. Y'all paid him massive amount of money. Y'all gave him the bag.
No doubt.
And a year later, you said,
he's talented.
I'm done with you.
Because he's talented.
Oakland does things that are unorthodox, and whether you want to admit it or not, it don't matter to me. They pay all that money, and they don't win no games. Like, they're an average team at best. But when the Niners play the Raiders, we know how that's going to go. Period.
Oh, my gosh. I can't wait. I really can't wait till we sack the hell out of Trey Lance. That's all I got to say. And by the way, Buddha Moore says Brown got a ring, LOL. Something that a lot of Niners don't have. I'm just saying, so that's why you get it.
With the Raiders, though, so relax. Like, he didn't get it in Las Vegas, so chill out, guy. You got it with Tampa Bay and Brady, so Brown got a ring with Buccaneers. Relax.
Bobby Hill says Marvin Bagley is more like Sam Bradford. Facts or foolishness?
Yeah, that's definitely factual.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think, looking at the schedule, Ty, for the Niners, what's a successful first 4 games for them, realistically?
Let me double check the Niners schedule, but I think that even with Jimmy G starting, I wouldn't, I'm not opposed to us playing well. I mean, I think at the end of the day, Jimmy G was just hurt a lot of last season, so we didn't really get an opportunity to see much of him. But I think, I don't know, it's successful. I'll just probably look at it more so, objectively. Like I think 3-1, right? We don't have to win every single game, but as long as we're on that winning trajectory, I think the way that our roster is, there's no reason that we can't win that many games. And yeah, especially with GBG starting, I think we can still get some W's with that boy George Kittle.
Javi?
11-5.
Wow.
11-5.
Holy moly.
11-5.
With Jimmy G as your quarterback.
I can't promise you anything because he gets hurt waking up trying to clip his toenail. So we'll see how long it lasts. I don't care whether it's Garoppolo or Lance. We're solid. You feel me? I'm happy. I'm good. It's a proud moment to be from the BAY like me. You feel me? Because the Niners are back and Trey's in full attack. Because Trey to the BAY.
Bert says Niners win 5 games tops.
And Lance,
give me that Lance.
The Niners win 5 games tops.
Huh?
Bert the Jerk says the Niners win 5 games tops.
I mean, that guy probably is living under a rock right now. Who's that guy?
He's probably a Jets fan, huh, Javi?
He probably thinks, Zach Wilson's our answer. Zach Wilson. I like Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville, man.
If you guys want to join the conversation, go ahead and click the link in the description. We'd love to talk to one or two of you guys before we end the show. We are at the 1 hour mark. Again, the Kings win 103-99. Just to recap, Javi's still high. Javi's still high on Marvin Bagley. No, I'm just kidding. As he said, he came back down to earth, and that's what he is. He's a 14-7 type of guy, which is not a bad thing. We just have to embrace it and accept it and forget about whoever was drafted at number 3. But it is what it is, man. If Seabass wants to call, I know he's been asking us to call. Go ahead, bro. If Isaac wants to talk, go ahead, brother. I don't know if I fixed the whole if Javi and Ty can hear you guys, but they should be able to. I don't see why they wouldn't. And other than that, people say Javi's a hater, which I tend to agree on that one.
Who do I hate on? Who am I hating on?
You're hating on the Raider Nation, the only nation.
Oh my gosh! Hey!
Daily
Take the breath of reality and realize you guys are an average at best franchise.
Oh
you
my
made the
gosh!
playoffs one time in 18 now, 19 years, guy. What do you mean?
That's okay.
Hey, you made the playoffs one time in 20 years, bro.
I'm not disagreeing.
What are you talking about? Hey.
Here we go. Seabass is in the building. Seabass is in the build. Let me see.
Yeah, we got the guy. Seabass, okay.
Let me see. Seabass, what's up, bro?
Well, okay, getting over my nerves here.
You can hear him?
Can you hear me pretty well?
Yeah.
Trying to adjust the camera side.
Can you hear him, Ty?
That's a good shot there.
I can't hear him either.
Yeah, I can't hear him.
Oh, you
Well,
can't
I can hear you. Well, I can hear you. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I can hear you, Leo.
Anyway.
That's all right.
First, talk to Leo.
I almost want to say that I'm.
Yeah,
I am actually. Talk a little bit about.
LeBron and
Talk a little bit about.
in the championship last year.
All right.
Okay, hold up. Javier.
Not because LeBron, because JaVale.
Javier. Leo, can you let Javier know that I want to have the mic here for a few minutes? I'll try to be quick.
No, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So getting over my nerves. I almost want to say that I'm surprised to hear what I heard today. But I probably shouldn't say that. Before I get into my Bagley talk, I am going to give props to Wright tonight. The 13 points, I think it was 10 rebounds, 8 assists,
He
4
filled it
steals,
up.
and 4 blocks. Oh, yep. So, yeah, he led that. I mean, my gosh, if we could get that more often, that would be gold right there. But that's the kind of stuff that I want to see from our guard play, either Fox or Hield. But anyhow, moving on to Bagley, I just want to give him credit for that. He was crucial to tonight's win. Moving on to Bagley, my God, you guys, I mean, I want to say, Leo, what's interesting is I don't call in here and I'm not like a yes man. Isn't it funny that every time I call in, I'm like the polar opposite of what you guys are saying and thinking. After the game against the Mavs, I was all gung ho on Bagley.
I know you were. I know you were.
That was a great game. I was jumping up and down. I was going crazy. At least I agree with Deuce Mason, who said that was probably Bagley's best game as a Sacramento Kings. But I want to say that after that game, if I ever said or implied that we should trade Bagley, I'm going to rescind that. That was a great game. He played at least like a future star. 10 for 16 from the field. And
what about tonight, though?
Offensive player. Okay, but I'm going to talk about his not so good game tonight. But the thing is, but hold up. He is a dominant offensive player. You've got to say that he's got some mad skills on offense here, and he's a dominant player. He can't be stopped. The only person that could stop him is himself. Him screwing up, him making bad decisions, him getting the ball stripped on the post, things like that.
You can't say he's dominant. No, but you can say someone is dominant, and that's not just Bagley. That's anybody. You can't say somebody's dominant and him average 10 points a game or 12, 14 points a game, bro.
All right. Okay. Well, he has dominant skills.
Okay.
And talent. It's raw talent. We'll put it that way.
And that's not true either. But go ahead.
We don't agree. Well, that's how I see it.
Is he better than Metu? Is he better than Metu?
The Mavs game, he was better. Yeah, that game. That you see, I look at his highlights and his peaks, not his trough. Okay, because I want to look at his potential. You guys could laugh all over you want. But I'm telling you, if Bagley in 3-4 years plays hella good on another team, you guys aren't going to be laughing the same way right now. Okay, but that's the thing, though. I'm wondering to myself, was the reason Bagley played on the Mavs? He played such an A game, except for a few mistakes. But I'm wondering to myself, was the reason he played so well was because Fox was not on the floor? Because he seemed like he had a certain freedom and enthusiasm that game that I haven't seen from Bagley other games. Okay, but to me, he's got too much talent and potential. The only thing from that I see Bagley from being where he is now to being a good player, to me, it's mostly on the mental side. He makes mental mistakes and some bad decisions. Take, for instance, today's game. And I think it was the third quarter. He took a three and it was an air ball, right? Some of you might remember that. And then he came back and his next shot was another three. And I'm like, what are you thinking, Bagley? You're not, and then he takes one or two more threes after that. So he shouldn't have been taking that many threes like he was today. His game right now is driving to the hoop. But whatever it is on the offensive and defensive end, whatever Bagley, I think what he mainly lacks is just the mental game, the knowledge of the game. Okay. And even I think Mo and Deuce was saying that the other day, he doesn't know the game of basketball. He's learning it. The talent, the skill, the athleticism, it's all there. He could be, at times, I think he's been a great player. But as I said, Bagley it's 3-4 years down the road. He's not a finished product. I give him the time. I don't know if the Kings should give him the time, but as a player, I give him the time. To me, the final report card is not written up on Bagley yet. That's 3-4 years down the road. So to me right now, this would be extremely dumb. I can't believe what I'm hearing. It would be extremely dumb to trade Bagley right now. His stock is low, but he has too much potential. He's kind of what this team needs, is a power forward that could take it to the hoop in a dominant fashion like he does. He just has the mental lapses and a
But what's dominant about him? He literally misses point blank layups, which that makes him nowhere near dominant. His second jump isn't anything special. Metu has a better second jump, by the way.
At least he follows up on his shot. Yeah.
So, he follows up because he misses his shots. And then he wants the ball like if he's Zach Randolph, yet he hasn't earned that right to just say, you know what, move out the way. Let me just clear out and just go one-on-one. Like, bro, he's not good to do those type of things. And if he does those type of things, guess what? He misses them or he turns it over, and then that leads into what? A transition bucket for the other team. And that's why he should never be a high-usage player for the Sacramento Kings. That is exactly why he's a 14-7 guy, and that's what he's going to be for this team, and I think for a lot of teams, wherever he bounces around, that's just who he is. He does nothing special. He can't go right. He can't go right. Can he go right?
I strongly disagree. What about the game against the Mavs? You're saying he
so
can't,
one game. Metu had 14 points in 10 minutes. Metu had 14 in 10 minutes. Am I going to say Metu is dominant? No, I'm not going to say that. I've said 1,000 times, Metu, Bagley, Baisley, these three guys are literally bench power forwards. That's what they are. They're scoring bench players. That's what they are. That's what they are.
When he gets his mental game in shape.
Oh my God! You need a lot of what ifs, brother. The NBA isn't about what ifs; it's about what can you do for me right now. And as we know, patience isn't a.
I have to agree with all the other players. People here saying that he's only. I think he just turned 20. I keep on saying that
he's 22.
He's 25. I think he just turned 22.
He did. But all right, brother. We can agree to disagree, my man.
All right.
All right, big dog.
I would throw one other thing out there, but it would be like an A-bomb on this show.
Go ahead.
You want me to drop an A-bomb?
Go ahead. Drop the A-bomb.
A-bomb on this show? Because I'm surprised. I'm just surprised at you guys a little bit. Like, you guys aren't pumped and excited about Bagley after his Mavs performance. But as I was saying, I wonder if he plays better without De'Aaron Fox. And my A-bomb is, I have to say that I think there is some truth to what Bagley's the uncle's tweet that Fox is a little bit of a ball hawk, a little bit.
You just dropped a Skip Bayless bomb, not just an A bomb. You just dropped a Skip Bayless bomb.
But the thing is, I think Bagley does better in a Haliburton, Wright, whatever offense than because the Fox offense is predicated over Fox taking a lot of shots. There's just him basically going down and being the scorer, driving it through the paint. Those are opportunities where another point guard like Haliburton has no problem dishing it up for an alley-oop to Bagley or setting up. There was somebody called in Deuce and May even suggested that the offense could go through Bagley. I don't know. But I just wonder. Stop. Wonder.
Stop.
I told you I was going to drop the A-bomb, but I just wonder the difference in Bagley's game with Haliburton versus Fox. I think Bagley's going to be better with a Haliburton than he is a Fox. But anyways, there's my A-bomb there. But did that tweet just come from his uncle, or do you think Bagley was behind it a little? I think Bagley might have been behind it a little bit. A little bit. I think he goes down. I think he goes back home. He says, well, he can't develop his game if Fox is taking the shots all the time.
Hey,
and he's
Fox
not
is a bucket.
He's not setting. He's not making plays for Bagley. Anyhow, I know you guys don't like to hear that. I threw the A-bomb. There it is.
All right, big dog. Be good. Cool. All right, man. I know that Ty kind of listened to what he had to say. It's not an A-bomb. It's a Skip Bayless awful take. But again, we take all takes on the show. We can agree or disagree on that. We should never run our offense through Marvin Bagley. The day they start doing that, I'm not going to be a Kings fan no more. I'll be honest. I'm not going to be a Kings fan no more. Like, the day they start running their offense through Marvin Bagley is the day I stop being a Kings fan. But go ahead, Ty.
That was Seabass, right?
Yeah.
Nothing against Seabass personally, but I feel like that is the epitome, is what is wrong with certain Sacramento Kings fans. We get a couple good games out of Marvin Bagley, and all of a sudden, all season, you guys want to trade him, and it's 2 good games, and it's like, no, he's the young, good prospect that we.
He's the next Chris Bosh. Exactly. He's the next second coming of Tim Duncan. Oh, my God. I love it.
And a huge issue with that, and I think we're seeing in New Orleans as well, is with underperforming number 2 picks. I mean, Lonzo Ball has definitely played immensely better than Marvin Bagley. With that being said, I mean, reports came out he's going to demand $20 million. Yep. So, I mean, in order to retain a guy like Marvin Bagley, I mean, obviously we have an opportunity to see him again next season, but, dude, he's going to want some money. And at the end of the day, like, I mean, I know he mentioned he'd rather see Haliburton, run the offense through him and then get the ball to Marvin Bagley. But, dude, I think you brought up a great point, Leo, earlier when you mentioned, like, whenever Marvin Bagley does does try to fit into that ISO big post-up Zach Randolph role, it's so ugly because he has no moves in his arsenal. He don't have a dream shake. He don't have that turnaround jumper on lock. I mean, if anything, I'm taking that Richaun Holmes little
Push
floater
up, facts.
over anything Marvin Bagley can do in the ISO. So I think at the end of the day, I mean, you look at the trajectory of what the NBA is going to, and I think, low-key, Marvin Bagley would have been good in the league a few years ago, but at the point where it is now, I mean, we're seeing 6'9" centers be a casual thing. And so I think Marvin Bagley just does not do enough, outside of the paint that, garners anything special. And so with that being said, I think what Javi misunderstands with Leo and I's perspective, it's not that we don't want value for Marvin Bagley. It's like, dude, I would love to have a guy like Josh Hart for Marvin Bagley. I just think realistically, though, where his value's at, and especially with all the off the court stuff with injuries and with his dad being a wannabe LeVar Ball, it's just there's no value there. So for delusional Kings fans that think Marvin Bagley has a future in Sacramento, I'm sorry to tell you, but he's not going to stay in Sacramento.
Perfect. Now we got Buddha. Now we got Buddha on the line. What's up, brother?
What's up, bro? How everybody doing tonight?
We're good, bro. We're just on this Marvin Bagley train, man. Everything he does is gonna be micromanaged. So let's go.
Hey, yo. To be honest, it's time to get rid of him, but at the same time, you gotta give him a chance because, like Javi was saying, you can't not get nothing for him. So, and he got talent, and it's to the level like, could he be? Would we want him to be? I don't think so, but hey, I don't know. I don't know if we should give up on him so fast, but we should definitely, if we can get something for him, we should pull the trigger. But as far as replacing him,
is Metu as good as him right now?
As far as skill-wise, yeah. Skill-wise, he
there you go.
Better, he passes better.
There you go.
His IQ is better. So, yeah. But
did you see that passing cut from Davis where he just missed him? Like, bro, that's such a low IQ play from Marvin Bagley.
Yeah.
How do you miss that? That's a professional basketball player we're talking about, bro.
Yeah, Metu would have made that pass, definitely, for sure. So that's what I'm saying. But to be honest, when you look at the roster, Terrence Davis, De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Haliburton, Harrison Barnes, Metu, Richaun Holmes, like, we got players. I feel like we just got to make it all gel. And we really, like, probably 1-2 players away from being really tough. So I'm thinking, like, in the draft, if we're going to have, like, 2 selections. If we make 2 good selections, what would the positions you think of need that we would choose?
Definitely small forward. And then center for sure.
Think so with Barnes?
Yeah,
Barnes or Harkless? You don't think they can hold down the small forward?
No, I think Barnes is a starter. I think Harkless is a nice bench player. He's nowhere near starter material. He'd be a nice, again, if you got Harkless coming off your bench, you're probably a good team. But when he's starting, you're probably not a good team. And if he can get that 3-4 hybrid in there to go along with Harrison Barnes and Tyrese and Fox, I think you got something there for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I've been looking at 4s in the draft, so like whenever you ready, we here.
Facts.
We here.
Facts. I appreciate you, Buddha.
Just keep going, keep pushing. Like I said, it ain't gonna stay like this forever. Like, we gonna break through sooner or later. So just keep being faithful Kings fans, and then we gonna all be in the promised land at the end. So just keep going.
All right, big dog. Appreciate you as always, my man.
No doubt, bro.
All right. So any final thoughts from Javi and Ty before we end the show?
Doubleheader tomorrow. Excuse me. We got back-to-back. Can we get double-digit points from Marvin Bagley tomorrow in a back-to-back? Can we get to 29 victories tomorrow and actually...
He's playing Sabonis tomorrow. He gonna get pummeled on defense.
In the last 10, 7-10 for the Kings, 7-3 in their last 10 games, and have a contest where Marvin Bagley has a double digits in points, along with double-digit rebounds. That's what I want to see tomorrow in tomorrow's contest against the Indiana Pacers. In tomorrow's game, can he go ahead and get double-digit points and rebounds, get that double-double for us in tomorrow's contest? That's what I want to see and talk about tomorrow in tomorrow's post-game show.
Piggybacking off of Javi, my final thoughts on the Marvin Bagley situation. For any Marvin Bagley supporters, I want to see the development of Marvin Bagley. What is he going to develop into? Realistically, do you guys see him being a Bam Adebayo type guy, or what? In all honesty, I'm seeing him like a Walmart version of almost like Willie Cauley-Stein, where it's why are we giving minutes to a guy? Why are we giving minutes to a guy that is gonna take from young prospects, and then also in addition just not develop? I don't
Walmart brand of Willie Cauley-Stein. What is he? The great value. Marvin Bagley's on his first team. Willie's on his third or fourth. He's not even. Come on, that's so disrespectful.
No, I'll give you disrespectful because Marvin Bagley gave nothing to this organization. We put our heart.
So Willie Cauley-Stein was more valuable to the Kings and has played better than Marvin Bagley in his career. Are you serious?
I think that's an argument you can make, low key. Leo, what do you think about that?
Now, wild.
Well, they've both been terrible, so I think Marvin is obviously the better scorer. Willie's a better defender. In theory, Marvin is supposed to be better, but
he's the number 2 pick,
right? Yeah, so he's held to a higher standard.
Willie was 6th overall.
Hey, all I'm saying is I don't have the same expectation for a 6th overall pick.
Yeah,
number 2 overall pick. That was technically That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, that was out of pocket.
Man, just said Willie Cauley-Stein is a better version of Marvin Bagley. Bro, you need to reassess.
He's not a better version. He's not a worse version. He might be Bagley might be a little bit better, but Bagley is so terrible defensively, though. So
the fact that Bagley,
I can see what Ty's saying.
That's the 2, and Willie Cauley-Stein is absolutely ridiculous.
The Warriors let him go for a 2nd-round pick, Ty. Glenn Robinson and Alex Burks got traded for 2nd-round picks. Journeyman in the league. That's how you need to know. The Warriors said, you know what? You can be gone for a 2nd-round pick.
Dude, we talked about this before, Javi. I'd be in love if we get a 3rd-round pick for Marvin Bagley. Jesus Christ.
There's no 3rd round in the NBA draft, bro. Relax. Sounds funny, but it's not funny.
You don't do nothing for us.
He's just a waste of space, huh, guy?
Yes, he is. Get his ass out the locker room because all he does is complain off the court, and all of a sudden De'Aaron Fox is ball hawk, so now he's messing up the chemistry. Bro, he does nothing for us. He's toxic. He's poison. Get him out of here.
All right, man.
Yeah. You still got a personal issue with Mr. Bagley there, Ty.
Because you can roll back the receipts. At the beginning of the season, I was on Bagley's side. You know what? He's young. Let's give him a chance. Nah, he don't do nothing. He drinks all over. Horrible defense. Has no IQ. Javi, come on, man. You're a smart guy. Why are you standing up for this guy?
You said he's toxic.
And he will
well,
never
his family
be
is toxic
NBA,
for sure.
Mark my words, because this guy is horrendous.
Oh my! You have what they call a personal vendetta with Mr. Bagley, and that's okay. But do not ever, and I mean ever, compare Willie Cauley-Stein being a better version of Marvin Bagley ever again.
Yes, Willie Cauley
ever.
With the Kings.
Don't you think it's ridiculous that me putting the same conversation of Marvin Bagley and Willie Cauley-Stein isn't even that bad? The fact that it's even comparable at this point, it shouldn't even be.
Cauley-Stein is not even in the
If anything, we should be talking about how Marvin Bagley should be up there with Luka Doncic because they both were drafted in the same draft class around the same area, and that Luka Doncic is arguably an MVP type caliber player, and Marvin Bagley.
Well, you say it like that, you kind of
right. We are talking about the number 2 pick with this guy Matu, who I don't even know where the hell he came from.
USC.
He arguably has more skill than Bagley. That's just ridiculous.
My goodness.
All right, y'all. I can't wait.
Only time will tell for Ty.
Hey, I can't wait for the next show. Bring your popcorn. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Bobby Hill, Seabass, Buddha, everybody, man. Always showing love. Make sure y'all leave a review on iTunes. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Peace.